Building a budget gaming PC right now is honestly harder than ever. Component prices have gone up a lot, and RAM in particular has gotten really expensive. That being said, in my opinion, if you're working with around $300, a build like this is still one of the best value options you can put together at the moment. And today I'm going to show you exactly why I think that's true. In this video, we're putting together a very low-cost gaming PC, but one that actually delivers surprisingly good performance. Honestly, it ended up performing better than I expected going into this, and as you probably already know, PC component prices are extremely high right now, even much higher than they were just a few months ago. When you start browsing online marketplaces and looking for parts, you won't believe your eyes when you see that the price of RAM has doubled. Today, I'm going to try to do exactly that. With a limited budget, using all brand new components is almost impossible, so the most reasonable solution is to use used parts. But you don't need to worry too much, because many used components still work very well. And I can confidently say that. Personally, I usually buy these parts on eBay. The PC I have here is a Dell Vostro 3650, but it's not exactly perfect since someone removed the front panel of the case. Even so, this is still going to be the base system for today's build. I was able to pick this system up for a pretty low price, mainly because it was missing the front panel and didn't come with a GPU. Honestly, it's a bit of a shame, because I don't have another case of the same model to swap the front panel over from. If I did, I definitely would have done that. Cases like this are actually pretty common, and you can easily find them at stores like Walmart, with prices that are fairly affordable. Normally, Dell Vostro systems come with the full front panel, and I'm not really sure how many of them are missing it like this one. That's probably the reason why this system was cheaper. I picked this one up for $155, and that price included shipping straight to my door. Even though it's not perfect, I still feel pretty lucky to have it. At the very least, it still has the side panel intact. This system is running an Intel i7 6700, a 4-core, 8-thread CPU, paired with 16 gigabytes of RAM. Even though the front panel is missing, it does come with a 256 gigabyte storage drive. There's no dedicated GPU installed, but it can still run using the integrated graphics on the i7 6700. Since this is an office PC, the included power supply is rated at up to 240 watts. In terms of design, the case actually has a fair amount of space inside. With that space, I should be able to fit dual fan graphics cards without any issues. One interesting detail is that this system uses an open-style hard drive cage, which kind of looks like a robot arm. At first, I couldn't figure out why the 256 gigabyte drive wasn't mounted in the tray. After taking a closer look, I realized that the drive mounting bracket was missing. So for this build, I'll need to find a way to secure the drive back in place. As for the GPU choice this time, my original plan was to go with an RX 6600 XT, priced at around $200 and offering 8 gigabytes of RAM. Performance-wise, it's a pretty solid option for the money. Unfortunately, the power supply in this PC doesn't have an 8-pin PCIe power connector, so that option had to be ruled out. Because of that, I switched over to GPUs that don't require external power. And of course, the card I went with is an RTX 3050 with 6 gigabytes of RAM. This is a used card, and I picked it up for $150. You could also consider a GTX 1650 with 4 gigabytes of RAM. The performance is a bit lower, but the price is more affordable, which makes it a good option for a tighter budget. At this point, my total cost comes out to $305. There's really nothing else that needs to be added. We already have 16 gigabytes of RAM and a 256 gigabyte SSD for installing Windows. On top of that, I'll be using another SSD that already has games installed on it. You could also go with a large capacity HDD, for example a 2 terabyte hard drive, to save some money when installing games. But the downside is that HDD speeds are more limited compared to an SSD. Now, all that's left to do is install the GPU and find a way to properly secure the drive. The GPU fits perfectly into the remaining space inside the case. And sure, it would look better with the front panel installed, but as long as the performance is solid, I'm not too concerned about how it looks. After everything was installed, I let the system run for a bit and rebooted it a few times to install the drivers. Everything seems to be working pretty well. As you can see, the system is running an Intel i7 6700, a 4-core, 8-thread CPU. It's not the most powerful processor out there, but it still delivers solid performance for current use. The system is equipped with 16 gigabytes of RAM. It also still has the integrated Intel HD Graphics 530, but I won't be using that since the RTX 3050 with 6 gigabytes of RAM is handling graphics duties instead. Finally, let's talk about the PCIe bus. The RTX 3050 6GB runs at PCIe X8 4.0, but the slot on this system only supports PCIe X8 3.0. That does result in a small performance loss, but it's not significant. Now let's move on to game testing. I'll be testing games at 1080p on this setup. For the RTX 3050, I'd say it's a solid mid-range graphics card, and it also supports DLSS. Starting with The Witcher 3, we're playing at low settings, with FPS hovering around 67. I think this setup works best at 1080p low. FPS is stable, the GPU runs cool, and power consumption is very low. If you want better visuals, you can try bumping a few settings up to medium, but I'd recommend prioritizing stable FPS first. Next, I want to test Tomb Raider. I'm running the game at 1080p with high settings. The RTX 3050 is consistently running at over 95% usage. FPS stays above 100 frames per second, with an average of 161 FPS. One thing worth noting is that the 1% low comes in at 111 frames per second. When the 1% lows are this close to the average, the game feels much smoother overall. At 1080p high in Tomb Raider, this setup delivers very high and stable FPS. Moving on to GTA V, this isn't a high-end system by any means, so it's interesting to see how it handles the game at 1080p very high. During gameplay, we're seeing around 40 FPS, with an average of about 48 FPS. The 1% lows drop to around 21 frames per second, which shows us where the system starts to work a bit harder in heavier scenes. Moving on to Minecraft, I'm running the game at 1080p, with a render distance of 8 chunks, and fast graphics. Here we're seeing FPS consistently above 200, with an average of around 183 FPS. What's interesting is that both the CPU and GPU loads stay below 50%, which tells us this setup isn't being pushed very hard at all. This time with the render distance pushed up to 32 chunks at 1080p. Here we're seeing FPS drop down to around 70 to 80, with the CPU usage climbing up to about 85%. Next, let's test Minecraft with shaders enabled, and the render distance set to 8 chunks. Here we're seeing around 60 FPS during gameplay, with an average of about 50 FPS. The GPU is now running at close to full load, which tells us that the shader is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. At these settings, the game remains playable and smooth, and performance feels right in line with what you'd expect from this hardware. Overall, this system performs really well. Given the current market prices, this is probably one of the best options you can put together right now. On eBay, there are a lot of systems running older series CPUs, and I'd recommend avoiding those. At the very least, I'd suggest going with Intel 6th Gen or newer, and ideally something a bit higher if you can. This AI7-6700 turned out to be more powerful than I expected. You also have several GPU options here, like the GTX 1650, and a few others depending on availability and pricing. It's not the best looking system, and it's definitely not the fastest out there, but for under $300, the level of performance you're getting here is really solid. That's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss any future content. Thanks for watching.